The following podcast is an enticing media production. Thank you for listening to this podcast. You are now socially obligated to pour yourself a drink, and welcome to the Drunk Squirrel.
Bourbon and scotch? I thought that was just a straight...
You do remember what our first drink was, ever.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mixed drink with bourbon.
With that was with Robin, right?
Yeah, it was the Presbyterian.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
It was...
you're right.
But
But
it's... I don't remember everything, but it was a little bit of like bourbon and ginger ale and bitters.
But people don't do, like, Coke. Like, when you do Coke and rum and, like, you don't... have you ever heard of anybody doing, like, Coca-Cola and bourbon or scotch or anything like that?
Okay, I have to ask this before I answer.
Okay.
We are recording?
Yes.
Okay. Mom, I love you. I'm sorry. This is one of those stories that you're going to go, oh, you're an idiot.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
So, many years ago, and I was definitely, I was 19.
I was going to say, you say many years ago. Is this under 21 or
I was
over
under
21? Okay.
And went to a New Year's party. It was at my friend's house, and he and I and Cuz, which was his cousin.
Cuz.
We always called him Cuz.
Cuz.
We would go camping. He had a couple acres. We'd always be out there camping and having fun.
Well, that sounds like a good time, actually.
Yeah. Well, so this New Year's Eve party is happening, and we're down in the basement, and we were drinking Jim Beam and Sprite.
I've heard people do that.
Yeah, so I mean, you can do different like bourbons, whiskeys, and scotches as a mixed drink with like Coke and Sprite.
Okay.
Sprite and ginger ale are the ones I always hear it with, not with Cokes or Pepsis.
So like the clear sodas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Clearer. Yeah.
Clearer sodas. Yeah. So we at New Year's Eve. You said New Year's Eve, right?
This was many years ago. New Year's Eve. Yes.
Okay, but it was so this past New Year's Eve. It's an interesting segue because this past New Year's Eve we were at Nell's sister's place in Ocean Pines.
Yeah.
And Tim, her husband, had gotten a bottle of Crown Royal Black from, I don't know if it was from a customer. He works for Cisco, so he has lots of customers and stuff that he deals with and sees. So I think it was a customer possibly that had bought, gave him this bottle, and he had never had it. And I'm not a big Crown Royal guy. I know some people really swear by it, but he had this black, and we're like, oh, we're going to try this and drink it. And I found it to be just not very flavorful. Like, it was not much going on there. I mean, it was super smooth, but I feel like it's because there wasn't much flavor. So we put Coke. In an effort to drink it, I was putting a splash of Coke in it. And I was like, is this even a thing? Do people do that? But I don't know.
I think this is one of those... Crown Royal is Canadian, isn't it?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I think it's Canadian. Because I normally avoid, like, Canadian whiskeys.
Is it like Windsor?
Don't know.
Have you ever... Okay, I'm shift gears now. Not shift gears, but have you ever had... the old guy drink is 7 and 7. Seagram's 7 and 7 Up. Have you ever had that?
I don't think I have, no.
I feel like we should get a bottle of Seagram's 7 and some 7 Up and have it on this episode. Not this episode.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
this podcast. I've never had that, but it's kind of like the old, like if you go to like a Christmas party and there's like old guys there and they're drinking mixed drinks, that's what they're drinking.
Hey, part of this podcast is trying new drinks, so
that would be it for me. That would be new, and I feel like I just want to know.
Which I guess, let's be up front, and we're drinking bourbons.
We are, Rob. You are drinking.
You poured the last of the Woodford in my cup.
Yes, and then I'm drinking
Mitcher's Small Batch.
Yes,
so
and it was that was a gift. That was a Christmas gift that I received, and it's bitey. I would say it's bitey.
I took a smell of the cork, and it does have a bit of a strong alcohol, like, nose to it. So,
but I said to you before we started recording, I said that it's one of those that you need to pour it over an ice cube and give it like 5 minutes for the ice to kind of melt into it a little bit, and then it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, every alcohol has like its own personality and flavor and uniqueness.
Just like us.
Yeah. Couple of nuts here.
No doubt about that.
And I'm going to cover this now because we actually never mention it directly.
Mm-hmm.
But in the next episode, we're drinking wine.
Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. We never brought it up.
No, we didn't. So you and I were drinking wine, and that was Ledson out of Napa Valley. Their Petit Verdot?
Yes, it was a Petit Verdot. It was a 2006, so it's 18 years old. We did not decant it, as Nell said that we should. And
yeah, now wait, you were saying we're not going to drink the whole bottle. Kenny, where's the bottle?
I don't know us well. Apparently, Rob and Nell know us better than I know us.
Well, now this is what was hilarious. Is normally it's me who's like halfway through, and all right, I need a second drink. Mm-hmm. I think we were a quarter of the way through, and you're like, "Where's the bottle of wine?"
So we were. Our guest Pete it was virtual, so we did it Zoom. So I just literally put my headphones down and walked away in the middle of the recording.
That's right, Pete. He's walking away from you.
That's right. Well, Pete carried the episode.
He did.
So
he really did.
In 2 weeks, so you're listening to this now. So in 2 weeks, tune into that because you'll want to.
And that really was a neat episode to talk. One of these days, you and I are going to figure out how to actually record things in order, because we have not for like the past 2 recording sessions.
If you listen to this podcast, you realize that there's no structure whatsoever. And it's part of what I love about this podcast that you're listening to. Every podcast you listen to is unique in its own way, and that is our thing. And it's not really on purpose, right?
Yeah, nothing is scripted about either of us.
Now, I literally, in that episode that we're speaking of, you'll be over here in 2 weeks, I sent Pete the Zoom link like 2 hours possibly before we did it. You and I were sitting here. We're working out the audio. Mm-hmm. Nell was in here helping us. I get a message from Pete like, "Hey, I never got the Zoom link. I'm sitting here waiting." And I was like, "Well, I sent it. Check your spam folder." And then it's radio silence. And he said, "Oh, I see it."
Well, that's encouraging. I mean, you're one of his radio hosts, and your emails go straight to spam.
Yes. So I don't know why that happened. But yes,
I do. He signed off with us.
He's like,
after the recording stopped, he signed off with us in a unique way. So that's why.
Get rid of those guys. So yeah, that's a cool episode. That's going to be coming out in 2 weeks. But we recorded that before this one, as to Rob's point, where we can't do things in order.
Life is what it is.
Life is out of order.
Exactly. So.
Speaking of which,
it's been like 6 weeks since you and I have sat down. A lot of life has happened between now and then.
Yeah, we did a little batch recording at that time because it was right after the holidays, and you know how that is. Everybody's busy, and we were going to be in Pensacola for some time, and so we decided to batch record.
Yeah.
Because it was time effective, honestly.
Well, and I mean, even when we did that batch recording, we were like, all right, we're going to get 2 episodes in and we're done.
Yeah.
We wound up at 3 going, okay.
Which was perfect. If you haven't listened to the episodes with our wives that we did a part 1 and part 2, phenomenal episodes. I mean, I know I'm biased, but.
We're both biased, but I mean, I had a weird moment. So you always
all our episodes have weird moments.
Well, I know, but like you always send me the file when you're done editing.
Correct.
So, what was this? This was last Sunday when you sent me the file,
mm-hmm.
and it was right before Super Bowl. I had to go and get something from Walmart. I don't even remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm walking through Walmart. I've got my headphones in, and I'm listening to that episode. And I'm just smiling and happy and just walking along in my own little bubble. And suddenly I realized, like, this Walmart lady is walking with me.
She's like,
And
what?
she's staring at me, smiling like, "Hi." I'm like, what?
What are you listening to, sir? You should listen to the Drunk Squirrel podcast.
I know. I was like, I'm listening to my wife, and she sounds wonderful and cute and fun in all of this. And
you're like, she doesn't sound like this normally. No,
I do not say this under protest. I love my wife. She is cute and fun at all times.
I would agree with that. My wife and your wife. Those were fun episodes to record. They were even more fun to edit, especially part 2. Because I feel like Mel had a little bit of wine at that point, and I love Mel with a little bit of wine.
When she can get to that point of being relaxed, she gets goofy and lighthearted, and it takes her a bit to get there. But
I wish she would get goofy and lighthearted a little bit more, because it looks good on her. So it looks good on her.
The funny thing, and I've been realizing this more and more, like I always thought I was the introvert, and she was the extrovert. It's actually the other way around.
I wouldn't say you're I mean, I don't know that I can judge her, but I wouldn't say you're an introvert.
Yeah, I have my moments.
Okay.
Like post-pandemic, I've been like, I really am not an introvert. I am an extrovert.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, because you're literally you say I can talk to anybody, but I feel like so can you.
That was actually the point of why I got hired on at St. Andrews.
Because you could talk to anybody?
They were like, he can talk to anybody. Mm-hmm.
Well, in your role, you sort of need to be able to talk to people, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's not just like one of the reasons I am a big football fan is it gives someone a point of connection and harassment. It's the same thing with like Star Wars and media and other things where it's okay, there are a multitude of points of connection that aren't just, oh, look, here I read the Bible. It's other points of connection.
Yeah. It's
humanizing.
That's a really good point, because we've had this conversation, and part of the conversation happened in those 2 episodes, the 2-part episodes we did with our wives. But you're the youth pastor, and you have that look. You don't have that look. You have that people just assume it's like, oh, you got to be kind of walk on eggshells around this guy. And it's not, it couldn't be further from the truth. You couldn't be more normal than any other human being that I've met. So it's interesting that you bring that up, because that's not who you are.
I'm normal with a twist.
Aren't we all?
Well, yeah, that's half the fun of life.
Yeah. You are normal. You are normal with a twist. I've been pleasantly surprised over the years on where this friendship has gone, and it's just super cool. And it's one that I didn't see from afar.
Well, I don't think either of us did.
I mean, see it from afar.
Shoot, one of the first times I remember connecting with you was up at the shop when you were working as a mechanic, sitting in that back little office, just talking through and whatever BS we were talking.
We love BS.
Yeah.
That's what we love. And I just don't get too serious, but you better be careful though. You better be careful, because with the last conversation that we had with Pete that you'll hear in 2 weeks, you may end up with a radio show at some point.
I can't say I would be opposed to it, but there's a whole logistic to that.
There's a whole logistic to everything. Thing. So yeah. But Pete when Pete connects with somebody, he'd be like, you know what, this guy'd be good for a radio show. And he's always that's the one thing about Pete. He's always on the prowl for that.
See, now this is one of the areas where I'd have to look and say there's a package deal that comes with it. Like, again, the marriage thing. When you think, like, what's the process of you thinking? Do you use pictures? Is it a voice in your head? I know this is weird. Is it music? Like, what is the process of your mind?
Of me thinking?
Yes.
The first and foremost, the process in my mind is, will Nell hate this?
But is that a voice, or is that like Nell strangling you as an image? It's a voice.
Yes, it's a voice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because it's a time thing. Some of it's a time thing too. because, so, with Nell running the business and me like doing a lot of the other like household type stuff, it's when I'm making decisions like that, it's like, all right, do I have the time for this, and can we still, because it's just busy.
So you're having a conversation with yourself.
Correct.
Okay.
I talk to myself.
A part of the way I think is that conversation with myself, and then images. Like and the images come in when I'm starting to dream or create or design something. I walk through what that would be, the space, the intention of what people are walking away with.
Okay.
Melinda is an entirely different category.
Interesting.
She thinks in music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
So, and the way she describes it is...
How so?
She describes it as there's a jukebox constantly going in her head that is like the background to the emotional framing and the thought process she's going through. And to me, this sounds like, and I've told her this, it's like a very specific torture for me because my head does not work well with music. And my engagement with music is hit and miss.
It's really interesting that's with her is music. I don't know how I relate to that. I mean, as far as like decision making or things in my head that I'm working through.
So one of the questions I asked in our group chat recently was, hey, can we get like 5 songs as a recommendation from each of us?
And somehow I missed it the first time around.
Right. And we're still working on this, so it'll eventually happen. But, what is 5 songs? And so far, Nell's the only one who's responded in the chat. Melinda has responded as well, and she's like, you're stressing me out. I can't just pick 5.
I could.
I can't. Well, I can't because I'm like, all right, I got like 2. But she's going, there's like 300.
So just so the listeners can understand exactly what are you saying with these 5 songs? What are you looking for out of these 5 songs?
Yeah, so I mean, we're leaning in. We're talking a little bit about music. Each of us has a different styling and taste and interaction with music. We definitely found out that one of us was emo with music.
And one of us didn't know what emo actually was. My hand is raised right now. I know this isn't video, even though you might be listening on YouTube. This isn't video.
Look, the only reason I know is I'm in youth ministry. I gotta try.
I mean, obviously, I've heard emo over the years, right? But we were recently having this conversation and listening to a radio show talking about emu, right?
Emu.
Emu. I don't even know what it's called.
Emo.
And I'm like, emu is the Nationwide commercial.
Limu the emu. Oh gosh.
But I'm like, what exactly is that? Like, what is the definition of that?
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So
I learned that. I'm like, okay, so I don't feel so bad because I feel like the lines are blurred a little bit on what it actually is.
I mean, we in that chat, we found out that one of us would, put on black eyeliner and go to school and then, be rubbing it off of our face before we got home.
That was Nell back in the day. She used to say...
I wasn't going to out her, but...
I mean, I will. I mean, at this point, she's almost 40 years old. She's in her upper 30s. Not almost 40 at all.
You corrected me every time. I was like, oh, Melinda is this. And now...
My apologies for this. I'm not editing it out. But yeah, she, obviously we all did things where when we were young that our parents didn't want us to do. We only did when we were out of the house.
Well, shoot, we started this with, I was drinking Jim Beam and Sprite on New Year's Eve at 19. It's true,
before you were, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Nell was, I'd never had that, like, that stage, but Nell definitely did. The black clothes and eyeliner and, whatever you want to say.
Well, and that is actually one of the comical things with what is the 4 of us, where you are truly an Xer. You've got Melinda, who is that early Xennial.
Wow, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then Nell and I, who are right at that cutoff of Xennial, older millennial, whatever they want to call it.
You guys are millennial.
I'm the baby of the group.
Yeah. How old are you again, Rob?
38.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you're 8 years...
Younger than you.
Younger than me.
Yep.
I am 8 years your senior.
Yep.
I hate that word. That
Now-
I'm 8 years your senior.
Now, you know what's funny is most of my students put me in my 50s.
Really?
Yep.
I wouldn't put you in your 50s.
They're kids.
I mean, they're kids, but
Yeah.
so everybody that's older than 25 looks like they're, one
In their
foot in the
50s.
grave.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Although I keep having these moments at the gym where, I'll interact with someone. They're all, "Thank you, sir." Oh crap! How old do I look?
Sir. That is
hell?
funny. Speaking of the gym, you've been very consistent, and kudos to you.
Yeah, sure, right.
I get the alerts on my watch because we're fitness buddies.
I have been trying.
Even though
to get back to
I do no
consistent.
fitness since the holidays. I've been bad. We've been busy, and that's not a good excuse, but it's the one I got.
Well, I'm in that same boat where even looking at like the kids' schedules.
Yeah,
Post holidays, they've had like 2 full weeks of school. That's it,
that's crazy.
and that has been throwing me for a loop. I think
Right, because that takes your time because
yeah,
obviously they need supervision.
yeah. I mean, they're getting to a point where supervision is less, but
Yeah,
yeah,
especially Ray. He's 14 now.
yeah, he's 14,
Yeah.
and supervision is less, but it's still needed to some degree. But
Sure.
part of it is just the routine where it's okay. The kids are out the door. I'm right behind them. I'm at the gym, and then I go to work.
Yeah.
And just having that disruption, forget it.
Yeah.
But
It's all we're all busy for different reasons. Obviously, we're not busy because we have kid commitments or anything like that. But
you're busy. You've got 2 radio shows. You've got a full-time career. Nell's got a full-time business that is
yeah,
turning empire little by little. You've got a lot.
yeah. There's a lot going on, and by the time this episode gets released, so my radio show, Flip Flops and Beer, will likely be 2 hours by the time this episode gets released. So
Pete really does love you.
yeah, I got a call this week that we want to give you 2 hours if you would accept it, and I haven't answered them yet, but I feel like I just did probably. But
Pete, there's your answer. Not speaking for him, but
yeah,
there's your answer.
yeah,
So that's awesome,
yeah.
which I also kind of am happy about because I think I can get into that second hour
Okay.
more because that first hour is a lot of transition and moving pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you said originally that Wednesday nights, when we first announced the show, that you said Wednesday nights were going to be difficult for you.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't have to listen to every minute of all the programming that we decide to, put out to the world.
Yeah, but I enjoy it because there is something to listening to what is live radio,
Mm-hmm.
being able to interact with you or Nell. I mean, yeah, Thursday night. Do you know how much trouble I got in?
This past Thursday night?
Yeah.
Was it something that I did?
No, it's something, we did.
That we did?
Yeah, we did.
Like we as in you and I?
Yeah, you and I.
All right, what did we do? I don't know how you got in trouble, but now I want to know.
Well, I messaged in the group chat. I was like, yeah, it's Thursday. The kids are at a dance. Melinda and I had a date night.
Oh, yes.
And you replied back, brown chicken, brown cow.
Oh, yes.
And I replied, not yet, at which Mel, jumps in, what is our drunk squirrel chat, and goes, yeah, that's never happening again. Because, you and I are having this chat, and
Yes.
it's happening online or on the radio show at the same time.
Okay, I remember this now. Actually.
Yeah, see?
So I get this. Yeah, I get. It's just all in good fun.
Yeah.
Though hopefully she was lighthearted about it because that's what it was.
Yes.
Okay, but hopefully she didn't give you too much crap.
Well,
for it.
but it's also just kind of a laugh at the Tracy Atkins song that I put up for one time the recommendations.
Yes.
The honky tonk badonky donk.
Honky tonk badonky donk.
Right.
Mm.
Which is just a hilarious song.
If you listen to the song, it's hilarious. And it's ridiculous that it ever made it to be a song.
I know.
But it did. And it's funny.
Well, it's on our family playlist. So we build a playlist as a family every year.
You're parenting correctly when that is on your playlist.
Well, but what's also hilarious is Friday, because the kids were off of school, we're driving around. I have that on
Oh, kids were off of school Friday?
Yeah, they were off of school.
President's Day?
Nah, Act
Or
80
just some
or
weird
in service or something.
Okay,
Because
sure.
the kids were off, but Mel wasn't.
Okay, but they weren't doing. It wasn't like an in-service thing where they were doing virtual learning. They were just off.
They were off.
Okay.
So they were stuck with me in meetings and,
You know, lucky them.
well, my meetings, let's see, what was involved in my meetings? Nerf gun, scooters, and food.
Your meetings are way better than my meetings.
I know they are. I love my job.
I wish my meetings involved Nerf guns and food.
I love my job.
You
Like,
should.
hands down. I had a meeting that involved us going through the church and, hey, we're going to do this event. And we walked into the gym and one of the people was like, oh, you have those scooters. And they just picked up the scooter and started running with it and playing.
Wow.
And, my kids followed suit and there are Nerf guns. And I love my job.
That's really cool. It's ironically enough, leaning into the church thing a little bit, I intended to go here. But so one of my newest employees at work, Matt.
Hey,
Matt leans into theology quite a bit. And I've never had an employee like that. And he's definitely he's involved. And immediately I thought of you. I'm like, the conversations Matt and Rob could have. And then immediately I'm like, Matt's got to be on the podcast.
Hey, that works for me.
That would be a good introduction for you and Matt, because I feel like you could have a conversation that I can't have with either of you.
But I will say this, Matt, if you're on, I'm sorry, we have to drink beer.
Beer? Okay.
Beer. I don't know. It's a post-seminary thing.
So Matt is currently doing Dry 2024.
Okay, well, you can have O'Doyle's. I'm going to drink a beer.
But I've been working on him every week. I'm like, whenever something happens that's not correct, I'm like, if you were just drinking, this wouldn't happen. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just
hit and miss.
We're
but
just messing with him. Elaine and I were just messing with him. It's cool. But Matt's a good guy. He did discover all of these things. He's already figured out what it is that I'm doing. But I had this conversation with him, and immediately I'm like, he needs to have a conversation with Rob, because I'm not the guy to have this conversation with Matt, but you certainly are. And he wants to start his own Lebanon chapter about this theology stuff, and he's leaning into it. He's really heavy into it, and he's really passionate about it. And I'm like, man, it would be a great conversation between the two of you.
there's a conversation down the road. We'll see what happens.
So I'd love to have Matt on the podcast sometime. And he's local. He lives in Annville, so
Okay.
be no issue.
Well, whether it's beer or tea, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still going to drink. He can do whatever he wants over in that chair, but I'm drinking.
Well, and it's got to be a dark German.
A dark German beer?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay. So you into German beers?
Depends on the beer, but yeah.
Okay. We have a gift certificate to a German restaurant in Lancaster that I got for Christmas. And I've never been there. It's down, Lancaster somewhere, whatever.
Yeah, there's a German restaurant in Lancaster?
That's what I hear. But I feel like, maybe we need to venture down there, use that gift certificate, and all venture down there.
You know what? Since we're on this topic, Nell, I'm with you. I'm throwing them under the bus right now.
Oh, God. What's happening now? What
because
are you doing
there's a piece of Amish and Mennonite cooking that gets, best way to phrase it is, bastardized from the original Germanics.
Okay.
That I discovered today, and you're a monster for it. It's chicken pot pie. It's in a pie. It is not in a soup.
Okay.
It's a pie.
All right. We can have this conversation now if you want to. Chicken, what you're talking about is chicken pie. Chicken pie. Because it has a crust.
Do you hear this? This is what you're driving me to.
The pop there, I like that. So Rob is dipping into the mixtures. I don't actually know how you pronounce it, but
we'll post a picture.
I poured him the last of the Woodford that we have. So, and there's a little bit of Tin Cup over there, which
I saw
I
that.
really quite enjoy. That's the bottle that you brought here, and I really, really do like it.
I brought 2 bottles here, and you've gone through them. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I enjoy it. It's not super expensive or anything like that, but
it's not a bad. It's a sweet whiskey,
but it's
bourbon.
it's quite good.
Yes, it is.
It's quite good. So I will absolutely get another bottle.
Okay, but it starts in a pot, ends in a pie, which is why it's chicken pot pie.
Yeah, the only argument that I can come, it's snowing again. The only argument I can come to think of is you're correct. Chicken pot pie in its like soup form never ends up in a pie. So
That's chicken dumplings.
I mean, also good.
Yes. Not gonna knock that, but it's not chicken pot pie unless it's in a pie.
So let's cover this. Chicken noodle soup, good.
Yes.
Chicken and dumplings, good.
Yes.
Chicken rivel soup,
What?
good. Chicken pot pie,
Chicken
also
chicken
good.
what soup?
Chicken rivel.
What?
You never heard of chicken rivel soup?
No.
It's like a it's kind of like chicken and dumplings.
Okay.
Honestly, they're like these little dough balls, and they call them in this area. They call them rivels.
Okay, yeah, no, I know what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about. I always put that with dumplings.
Yeah, I mean, I guess essentially, if you're thinking about it, speaking relatively, they're basically the same thing if you're thinking about it. But yeah, chicken rivels is like a local thing, but it's pretty much chicken and dumplings. But yes, so the chicken pot pie, as I describe it, is a thicker soup based deal that never ends up in a pie crust or anything like that. So
Grandma's pie crust, pour in the soup, and bake it.
So tonight,
That's what it is.
We're doing this thing because it's all local Central PA people here. Rob is not a local Central PA.
I'm a Western Pennsylvanian.
Right. I mean, he lives locally here now, but this is not where he grew up. This is where I grew up and my friends grew up. Nell did not. She was born in Central PA, did not grow up here. So chicken pot pie to her is in a pie pan with a crust over the top, and Rob is the same way. And for me in Central PA, chicken pot pie is just a pot of, soup, for lack of a better word. So,
I mean, to each their own. But
what say you? Not you, but
well,
what say you listeners?
The audience, yeah.
To
each their own, but
it is dumping snow out there.
that is not dumping.
Okay, it's snowing.
That's a flurry.
That's all right. That's right. You're a Western PA guy.
Yeah, dumping snow is, I can't see my neighbors.
Well, I can see the neighbors, so.
I can see your neighbors, too.
But it is snowing again, so.
Oh, my gosh.
Uh-oh.
That's maybe a story for another time.
I don't know. It could be a story for this time.
That's a story for another time.
Okay, fine. So, anyway, yeah. Wow.
Whew. All right. I'm going to finish with where I started with the honky-tonk badonky-donk.
Oh, we going back to honky tonk but donky.
We are. That's how far off the rails we got.
Okay. Good song, by the way.
Yeah, weird song. But yeah,
Yes.
I had tossed it out for one of your request nights, and it's on the family playlist. Well, we're driving Friday, and that song comes up on the car.
Mm-hmm.
And my wonderful, sweet daughter goes, "Wait, why does it say shut your mouth and slap your grandma?"
Well, honey.
Because it's ridiculous.
Well, honey. So is this playlist on like Spotify or something?
It is. And
Is it public?
Yeah, I guess it is.
So I could find it if I,
Yeah, and you can
Okay.
see like there's a playlist for every year
Okay.
for the past 5 or 6 years of just different songs that are either connecting and influencing me or connecting and influencing to the family. Like Billie Eilish's Bond song, not the Barbie song. Her song from the last Bond movie is on there.
Okay.
A handful of songs that are I Fight Dragons is a band, and I can't remember the song that's on there. One of theirs is
But it's unique though. So
Yeah,
it's
there's-
everything you guys like to listen to.
It is. It's things that are either bringing up memories. Oh, yeah, Creed made it on there because
Oh, yeah.
last night, I think it was last night, Melinda and I were talking about, oh, look, Creed is touring again. I guess they're coming to Hershey soon.
Really?
Yeah, with Three Doors Down. So
That's kind of cool.
yeah. So we were playing a few of those,
Yeah.
and just reminiscing about music from back in the early 2000s. And
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to toss one of those on the family playlist.
That's the beauty of a play. I mean, because we have a similar playlist, and it's just, random stuff, and we'll just play it throughout the house once in a while.
Ed Sheeran's on there a handful of times.
I like Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I actually did not like him until the past couple months.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
like his style.
His style has been growing on me. The Places You Go. That's by I Fight Dragons. That's the song.
I Fight Dragons. I feel like I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm not familiar.
Yeah, let's see. Jonas Brothers,
Oh, the Joe Bros.
Fleetwood Mac. Don't Cry by Adam Sandler.
Don't Cry by Adam Sandler.
It was.
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
I don't even remember.
I need to check out this playlist. Apparently.
What was the movie? It was Leo.
Okay.
And it was a cute, fun movie. We watched it as a family, and there's, Adam Sandler
Yeah.
singing.
Which is ridiculous in its own right?
Lunch Lady Land, Sloppy Joe.
Unless you're talking about, what is it, the Hanukkah song.
Well, have you ever heard Sloppy Joe?
No.
You've never heard Sloppy Joe by Adam Sandler?
I don't think so.
It's
I don't
either
think
Sloppy
so.
Joe or Lunch Lady. I don't remember which.
I don't think so.
Oh, come on.
Maybe if I heard it, I would remember it, but it's not ringing a bell.
How are we friends?
I don't know.
You have bad pot pie choices, and
I have good pot pie choices. I mean, while you may argue with the actual name of it and the structure, it's still very good.
This is why we're friends, because we enjoy the ribbing.
Yes, that's 100% true. So yeah, I guess. I
got to find that share link. There it is. Haha.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I need to look that up. If we don't use Spotify much anymore, because we use mostly Apple Music, because it's been we got Apple Music free with our phone plan, and so we ended up with using Apple Music essentially when instead of Spotify anymore, because it was like.
You want to hear why I use Spotify?
Sure.
This is a hilarious story.
Really?
Okay. Yes. So, we do youth events.
Yes.
With work.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember what the event was. This was like 6 or 7 years ago. There you go. Kenny's still nursing his whiskey over there.
I am sipping my whiskey.
But so we started this youth event. And I opened up and turned on Pandora. And I had the free version of Pandora at the time. And it comes with commercials.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got the Christian music playing in the background before the kids come for the event. And I'm getting ready for everything. And then as that music is playing, I hear Trojan Man.
No. Flip. Seriously?
Seriously. I was like, the kids are like 10 minutes away. There's no way I'm doing it. I immediately turned Pandora off, and within 3 minutes had a Spotify account set up.
So you got the paid version of Spotify.
I went with the paid version because I was like, there is no way I'm sending an email explaining to parents why their kids are all going, Trojan Man.
I feel like the church should be paying for that Spotify subscription, if that's what you're using it for.
Actually, I don't care paying for it because, I have for... This is not a paid sponsorship, but I'm paying like $15 a month for 6 accounts.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So-
could you have like the family?
Yeah, so
Right.
I've got my account with my music. Melinda's got hers. The kids each have theirs. We have a house account for our Alexas, and then
Yeah.
I actually have an account I use for youth ministry stuff.
Okay.
So
I mean, it really comes in handy for what you're using it for,
it does, and I don't get Trojan Man.
which is important in your line of work.
Yeah, because I'm pro kids. I need more kids. Oh wait,
Right. Well, or you just don't you just don't want rubber commercials during your youth ministry events. Right?
No.
Is that
No, I don't.
Is that frowned upon?
Just a little.
I
But
could see that.
I think we got to be close to time.
Yeah, we are. Okay. Yeah. So we're about 40 minutes into this thing, so we're gonna wrap it up, I guess.
I guess let's finish with this. Super Bowl happened last week.
It did.
How did you feel?
We talked about this, with no dog in the fight, you're hoping for a good game, which it was.
That was a really good game.
It was a really good game.
It kept you on your seat if you were into it. It didn't feel boring, and it was good.
They showed Tay sparingly. So it's but Nell and I actually watched the Amazon Prime Taylor Swift special in the afternoon because we were both sick last weekend. So we binged Suits and Tay.
Okay, so just got a text.
Oh, boy.
Your wife is going through the playlist and finds it interesting that Miley Cyrus's Flowers is on that playlist.
Yeah, I do find that interesting. So now that you shared it, we can save it, and then we can play it in the house, and I can listen to all the things that you're listening to, and I can text you every evening and be like, what? The actual...
Remember, this is not just my taste in music.
I know. So everybody saves music to this. So Melinda...
Yeah, so if there
Ray,
are songs
Adeline, so everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my family, we can all add music. But yes, back to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
It was good.
It was an amazing game.
It was well balanced.
Overtime.
And it was a good overtime.
It was a good overtime.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of discussion this week that the 49ers took the ball and should have just given the ball, and then a lot of stuff came out that they were saying, like, well, the players were like, we didn't actually know what the overtime rules were. And it's like, I feel like that's important.
Well, and that's going to be a discussion going into next season of how that's going to maybe even change again.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people that want the NFL overtime rules to be like the college overtime rules. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But the new playoff overtime rules were exactly that. They were new. This was like the first year for it. So,
well, we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, but good game. Two good teams.
Yes.
The Chiefs, like it or not, they have a dynasty going there.
Yep. I look forward to the Chiefs' third appearance next year. I mean, yeah, whatever. Taylor's third appearance next year. Second appearance.
Well, it'll be Taylor's second appearance, but Nell would disagree with you because she's looking forward to a Ravens appearance in the Super Bowl, so we'll see what happens.
I don't know. I mean, I had Ravens-Lions, and I got to say, both those teams choked right there at the end, and I'm disappointed.
Yeah, the Ravens just did not play well in that AFC Championship game, just did not play well. And whether it was just tightness, because it was kind of the first time that they were there with Lamar and all those things, or if they just didn't play well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That surprised me. So,
but I mean, Andy Reid's a heck of a football coach, and
he is.
He's the best. He's kind of like Belichick's kind of taking a step back a little bit now at this point, and I feel like Andy Reid's the coach of record right now.
All right, those are fighting words. Putting Belichick up there. We'll fight about that another day.
We don't have to fight about it. I mean, the facts are the facts. I think we can agree that Brady was a lot of it. Yes. And I think we learned that over the last couple of years.
That's the argument. And I hate Brady. I hate saying this about Brady.
Yeah, and I don't
Brady
hate Brady.
Was probably 80% of that relationship.
I don't hate Brady. I once hated Brady, but I gained more respect for him when he left and went to Tampa. And I feel like it was his way of proving things to certain people.
That it wasn't just...
And it couldn't be more obvious because he won a Super Bowl with a completely different team the next year. And Belichick's teams have never been the same since Brady left. So you can take that to the bank, I guess.
Yeah, you can. But I still hate Brady.
It's fair enough.
So, but all right.
Fair enough. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Rob, thank you.
Tune in 2 weeks because we're talking to Pete.
Yeah, we're talking to Pete Perez from Sandcastle Radio, and it's a really, really good conversation.
That's fun.
You don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
So we're going to release this one first. so we can properly give that episode the time that it deserves. So
Absolutely.
all right. So anyway, Rob, thanks for being here today,
Absolutely.
and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for a conversation with Pete Perez.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to The Drunk Squirrel. No need to pay a tab. Just be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and drop us a line, thedrunksquirrel82@gmail.com. Cheers.